I have not played AC Shadows, frankly, because I've been waiting to see if it would grab me. Right? Before we click off this video, I think that AC Shadows has been the biggest blue ball in the gaming industry in a long time. Let me explain to you what I mean. AC Shadows, I don't want to call it a hype train, but the amount of content that has been pushed to me and I have reacted to as well throughout the whole time length of this very reactionary, change of direction pace. Not even just that, just overall lack of social awareness when it comes to using Japan as a location and the overall nuance that came after that. I was going to push the mess out of this game. I was considering buying this game. And then there was this little article that came out. And I read it. And I decided, you know what? I need to get in shape. Let me go to the gym. Let me, get my jumper back. I haven't been the same since I got injured. Like when I first started this channel, I had a really bad head injury. And I never got better after that with basketball. And I'm a hooper. My name is Trey Swish. If you don't know, welcome to the channel. But, so I did that. And I did my research. And well, this topic really pisses me off. Here it is. Ubisoft and Canadian government threaten gamers over AC Shadows. And I didn't want to cover this, but I've covered AC Shadows a lot. A lot. And I just feel like I need to do my due. I need to say my
Hope
piece.
you guys have had a great weekend. We've got some hilarious news being reported here. Apparently, Ubisoft...
Never heard of this guy, by the way. Great title. Hero Hei.
is,
hopefully I didn't butcher that.
Says here in their tweet, preparing to curb the backlash against critics of Assassin's Creed Shadows. They're going as far as sending lawyers after you if they
deem your criticism is targeted attacks or harassment. The wording of this is nutty. Okay, let me break this down for a second. There's a lot of people on Twitter, online in general, a lot of people that aren't even adults, man. And I remember back in the day when I wasn't an adult and I would go to the lunch table and I would be surrounded with all the guys. If you're a guy, you could probably relate to this. The lunch table was kind of this sacred place where it was almost like a 15-year-old's place to socially battle in a Roman Colosseum. Now, what I mean by that is you were fair game no matter who you were. You got roasted over your hair, your glasses, the food you brought, your clothes, your skin color, if you're ashy or not. I was very dry skinned sometimes, and I would have like my elbows would be a dark color and the tips of them would be white. I would get roasted sometimes for being ashy as a white guy. There was a lot of your mama jokes. There was a lot of freestyle with the pencil instrumentals. It was a sacred time, bro. And a lot of the stuff we would say back then would be considered harassment, considered bullying. No, I didn't think of it as bullying. Same thing with Modern Warfare 2. When you're in the lobby and you're talking shit to the other team that you just lost to or beat. Because they decided to all use riot shields or fucking one-man army with noob tubes, and you just couldn't stand them because you were you just had honor in the game, honor in the quick scoping, just method. You used the intervention, and that's all you did, and you 360'd in quick scope. You didn't do the hard scoping bullshit. No, you played the game how it's supposed to be played. The way real gamers played Modern Warfare 2. And you get in that freaking game chat and you'd be heated. Because these guys are just using noob tubes. You're on terminal, the best place. No, not even terminal. You're on high rise. The best place to snipe. To quick scope, to jump off of shit and do 360s. If you don't hit the shot, you die. You die either way because you're falling to who knows what's underneath the high rise. Just, you're above the clouds. And these guys decide to get on the top of the motherfucking base, put it on a tactical insurgent, blow up the big old bomb thing. You see it smoking and flaming up on the building. And you see this little green or red insurgent up there. And you know that there's not just one, not just two, there's the whole team just noob tubing. Oh, man. I used to get livid. I'm sorry, I went down a rabbit hole, but man, there'd be some stuff that we consider harassment. It just is what it is, you know. You would say some things that, you know, if they had the transcripts today, shit, we might be all in trouble, boys. You know what I'm saying? There's some vile shit thrown around, but it is what it is, man. It was cool. At the end of the day, you know, you made your friends online and you made your enemies, and sometimes your enemies become friends. It depends on how long you stay in that lobby. Harassment, what people used to call it. Online bullying, what people call it sometimes these days. I think it's nonsense. I think that trolling is an art. I think it's a satirical way of expressing yourself, of expressing your freedom of speech. And you're going to tell me that you're dropping out a video game for young and adult audiences, a Assassin's Creed video game. And you, instead of, you know, after having your delay, bro, after delaying the whole game because you want to make sure everything was polished, you didn't make sure the game was as good as possible because you're dedicating resources to starting a anti-harassment plan to target critics. Now, let's be real. There's crazy people out there for sure. There's crazy people with every project, every IP, every artist, every streamer. It is what it is. There's psychopaths everywhere. And to y'all, I'm sorry. I pity y'all. I really do. I feel bad for you. I wish everyone had great mental health, but that's not the case. We live in a global atmosphere now where there's a lot of bad places and a lot of bad situations, and you don't get to pick who your parents are, yada, yada, yada. You know the story. It's not a good one. Those people, yeah, I get it. If you're like stalking people, making death threats, yada, 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 whatever it might be, I get it, man. But if you want to talk your shit about a video game, and you're over here like pretty much lining everybody up with like riot shields and riot gear, and it's like, oh, we got our team ready to go. Anti-harassment plan is in effect. Martial law, baby. We ready to go. I think that's a little intimidating to the average person that wants to speak their mind about a video game and hopes that, you know, the culture and the direction of video games in general might change for the better. Yeah, I don't think that's a great look.
Deem your criticism a targeted attack or harassment. My gosh, isn't that pathetic?
Yeah, it's
they
something.
include this diagram. Let's check this out. Ubisoft prepares an anti-harassment plan to target critics. News, according to BFM TV.
All right.
An extreme and stressful situation that Ubisoft prefers to anticipate. An anti-online harassment plan
I wonder
was
why
even
that
presented to
is the
the
case.
CSE to accompany the game's release and protect employees. Quote,
these are the same guys that people are saying is gonna be the 51st state. I don't know, if this is the movement you're moving with, bro, I do not want y'all to be the 51st state. Ain't no way. Y'all too damn big. Y'all gonna soak up all them votes like California. And the culture out there, man, there's a lot of probably great people out there, man. But this is the direction y'all are going. Oh no. That's crazy. This is some weak sauce right here.
an initiative from Canada.
Freaking
There's a
dog
team that
water,
monitors networks and acts quickly in the event of a targeted attack. Unquote.
Also, target attack. How do you define that? Because if I'm criticizing something, someone could say I'm attacking it. And if I'm attacking something directly because it's something that's under criticism of my direction, that is targeted from me. So then, therefore, that is a targeted attack. So it's just, this is just word vomit of we're scared of getting hated online and we're trying to scare away the hate. They're trying to fight fire with fire, which typically just blows up.
Explains an elected official.
Yeah.
Psychological and legal support is promised to employees who are targeted. Another quote here. Unlike what we've had before, this is serious.
It is serious because this game determines the lifeline of the company, of Ubisoft. If they get sold off completely, if they get, you know, if they sell individual parts of the property itself, there's a lot that can happen in the next 6 months, and that this game is riding on. And this game doesn't need to just make a budget. It needs to be like an Elden Ring type game. I think the writing on the wall was here all along. I think Assassin's Creed Shadows, people were saying that this game was supposed to save the franchise or destroy it. I think that there was nothing they could probably do to save the franchise with this game itself. That's just me. Now, will this game destroy the franchise? I don't know. I frankly don't know. Time will tell. There's been a lot of crazy things happening in the gaming industry with buyouts and stuff like that. It'll be interesting to see what happens. And now you have to also realize that, you know, Ubisoft utilizes subscription-based income as well, Battle Pass, all that kind of stuff. It's not just game sales where they make their money. Now, it's a big chunk. So we'll see what happens, man.
Thus, messages
I
posted
feel like
by internet
restructuring
users
is
on X, formerly Twitter,
it's
Reddit,
foreshadowed.
or even videos on YouTube will be closely monitored by a dedicated unit in order to respond quickly to the slightest problem.
That's crazy.
Lawyers are already ready to file complaints in the event of proven.
They're just biting they're just biting their pen right now, just doodling on the freaking table, bro. They don't know when, they don't know who, but they're ready to go. It's like, what are we doing?
Harassment.
Yo, summon the sweaties of lawyers.
So yeah, we've actually seen this sort of corpo jargon from various other corporations before as well. And they seem to love loosely defining this stuff, or like not defining it at all, right? Like oftentimes what they would call targeted harassment or attacks is like valid criticism against the game.
Yeah, and then guess what happens? Someone pops off with a video that's criticizing them, and then whoops, you got a copyright strike or whatever it might be. And that one strike can like tremendously hurt a YouTube channel, man. Just one strike can just like alter the future of the direction that they go completely. So yeah, I think there's already been a oppressive reign of tyranny when it comes to YouTubers and gaming companies or whatever it might be, film companies. Who cares? People don't like criticism, especially when it's bad. And it's a tricky slope, man. It really is. It's just this energy, man. I hate
think
it.
This sort of corporate corruption is something anyone would like get behind criticizing, right? Like this is not something that should be defended. However, activist outlet The Gamer apparently is taking Ubisoft's side on this.
Oh no, that makes sense. Completely makes sense. I don't know who Atlas is, but any gaming journalism, like the stereotypical, I don't want to call it classical journalism. I don't know, but there's a word for it. I completely forgot. I haven't reacted to politics in a while. But yeah, that type of vibe for gaming, they're always going to bow down to the gaming companies because let's be frank, without the gaming companies' favor and insight, information, trailers, leaks, future projects, what they're working on, yada yada, interviews, all that kind of stuff, they're nothing. They're just as good as YouTubers. Actually, I think in a way they're less effective than YouTubers that cover stuff like this, in my opinion, at least.
They write, Ubisoft reportedly has a plan to protect devs from harassment when Assassin's Creed Shadows launches, with the bullet points.
Legacy media. I got a monkey brain.
Ubisoft.
But even with my monkey brain, I see this as bad. Like, this shit sucks. Like, what?
There's a plan in place to protect devs from abuse after Assassin's Creed Shadows launches. Devs are apparently already being told to be cautious on social media, and Ubisoft is also said to be collaborating with a Canadian government agency is combat online abuse. What?
Yeah, I heard about that, man. I think
they meant to combat online abuse, not is combat online abuse, but who knows what these people...
Oh, yeah, they mess up, man. They mess up. They got someone like me running the PR. Boy, whoever running the PR over there is crazy. The content creation and shit like that, boy. Some of the commercials and trailers they've done, stepping in dog shit left and right.
Furthermore, they actually write, like the full article here, they say, it's hard to imagine that morale has been great at Ubisoft since Assassin's Creed Shadows reveal.
Yeah,
the first trailer was released last spring, and since then, the game has been hit with delays, and the studio has faced layoffs. But of course, the main story surrounding Assassin's Creed Shadows is the Backlash, as the anti-woke / DEI / whatever it's called now movement made the game its latest target.
It's gamers that want good games. I think that's it. Like, you look at the last couple games that have been attacked, and I know what they're talking about. You have Dragon Age Veilguard. I don't need to explain that at this point, right? Avowed. Mixed bag for a lot of people. What else? You had Concord. It was a while ago. Concord was one of the biggest flops the industry has ever seen. I think ever since Concord, people were hyper focused on the situation because that story itself was just so outrageous. and now you have a fucking microscope on every new big AAA game that comes out. I think that really did spiral things out of control. For the developers at least, because they have a lot of attention of what they're actually pushing out nowadays. And then we got Shadows. So yeah, Guard, Avowed, Shadows. I feel like there's another one in there. I can't remember. Oh well.
This was all because Yasuke, one of the game's protagonists, while critics say that they take issue with Shadows referring to Yasuke as a samurai, it doesn't take a lot of looking to find violently racist imagery and language being used towards the game and its depictions of its black protagonist. The backlash was intense, with Elon Musk joining in on the hate. So let's pause for a second. There's been a lot of...
I want to say something too. Anytime you're gonna have like backlash, like mass backlash, like a huge backlash, like I'm not talking like backlash you had like with Hogwarts Legacy, right? I'm like talking about like real majority, like big number backlash, like where the graph is very, very, very red, like where the hate is going up like a fucking pyramid slope, bro. It's going straight up. When you're having backlash like that, you're gonna have people that do racist shit, that do vulgar shit, that do the stalking and the threats and all that kind of shit, because they're gonna bring out the crazies, bro. Because it's such a big deal that a lot of people are talking about it. You're gonna have the crazy people, man. You're just gonna have that naturally, bro. It's gonna happen. There's fucking shitty people everywhere, and people that don't give a fuck because they're on the internet and they're gonna express their darkest thoughts all they want to. That is going to happen regardless of what IP it is, man. It is what it is. What you should be focusing on is how big the backlash really is, and realize, okay, how many of these motherfuckers are not being racist and still talking shit, right? Then you're going to have a better vivid picture of the common folk and why they are mad, and then you can actually understand the problem and then fix the problem. The motherfuckers don't like to look at that no more. They just want to say, oh, that guy that doesn't like our project, he's racist, and it's like playing Where's Waldo with these fuckers, bro.
Critiques towards this game for various reasons, including even the architecture apparently being more Chinese than Japanese, including people who even tried the game out already, criticizing how clunky Yasuke felt to play, and or that he also just made the combat like way too easy. It's like
they've had multiple just stupid, like I remember when they had the collector's edition and they had the little, what do you want to, like Funko Pop or whatever of Yasuke and the chick, and the chick's like perched up on like this like sacred arch thing that was like a half arch where it symbolizes like standing the test of time, the destruction, and I think it got hit with like the atom bomb. You know, that might not be something that you want to monetize. Like, this is just one example that I remember. Like, it's just I could go on and on. If I really wanted to dedicate like my next 2 months, I could make like a deep dive of how bad this game was. Not the overall game, but how bad the direction and the PR, and it's so nutty, man. It's almost like the Snow White situation. It might be worse, honestly, with the Snow White situation. And it also has more fair criticism to me because this is a game that I would actually want to play. I don't want to play it for full price. I would play it on a code. I didn't even reach out. I'm not going to reach out. I'm too lazy to do that. I'm not reaching out to get a code. A lot of people have been reviewing this game. A lot of people saying it's like a 5 to 6. A lot of people also saying it's a 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5. You know, usual suspects with that. Yeah, I think this game might be like a 6. I don't know. If I do play, it's gonna be in a while. I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima right now. Fantastic game. I'm like 2 hours in the game. It's so good. But yeah, once I get to the 40-hour threshold, I'll know if this game is a real masterpiece or not. Now with this one, it's gonna be a while, man. But I will react to people's reviews, and I'll speak my mind because this whole rollout is nutty.
Easy mode. Those are just a few
this
examples.
Situation is
but
weird.
Hey, to the activists over at the Gamer, of course they want to try and manipulate a narrative around
Of course
this whole
they
thing.
are.
I also love how journalists and other modern audience type of people, etc., constantly try and act like DEI is something that like gamers made up, when we're just using the terms that corpos literally made. You have literal corporations and government agencies using this term, and then
one day DEI might be like a slur. Like, you're not allowed to say DEI because it's offensive. I would not be surprised. It seems like one of those words where activist, and the right mindset, quote unquote. You're trying to include everybody and be a good person. It seems like a great word, a buzzword to use, right? It's really shifting into it's like almost saying a cuss word,
And when people start talking about it in the public, suddenly, whatever
Might be
they're
worse.
saying, DI woke whatever. It's like, bro,
Woke
we're
is
literally
definitely one of those
using
too.
the corpo terminology. And you would think that
Yeah.
these activists at the Gamer would agree to criticize corrupt actions from corporations, including this whole like new policy that Ubisoft is apparently implementing to protect Assassin's Creed Shadows from critiques.
No, because they don't believe in equality. No, they do not. They just want to win. When it's bad criticism, they don't want to hear it. When it's good criticism, keep on talking.
But
That's how
no, to
typically
these
everyone is,
activists, just because
unfortunately.
gamers are critiquing Ubisoft, they decide they want to stand with the corporations, with giant corporations. Yeah, wonderful activism, isn't it? Continuing, they say, now it seems that Ubisoft, what? Another typo? What is this? Now it seems that Ubisoft, prepare for this to even get worse at launch.
Oh boy.
As reported by
AI
Tech
would
&
do
Co,
better.
spotted by Reset Era user Arabedo, Ubisoft is said to have implemented a plan to protect its devs as we approach Shadow's launch. This reportedly includes offering psychological and legal support and is part of a Canadian initiative against online abuse. Unfortunately, this is something companies have to account for now. Of course, the attacks have been going on for some months now. We're advised not to post on social media that we work at Ubisoft to avoid harassment, says one Ubisoft worker quoted in the report. As part of this, Ubisoft is said to be working with the Canadian Communications Security Establishment and has drafted up a plan to combat harassment. It's an initiative from Canada. There's a team that monitors networks and acts quickly in the event of a targeted attack.
Oh no.
Unlike what we've had before, this is serious. Assassin's Creed Shadows launches on March 20th. We'll have to wait and see where it lands with fans and critics.
Hey, if they buckle down on this problem like they did with the fentanyl crisis and, reduce the numbers like they did with the Canadian border going into America, maybe they actually will crack down on this. I think an easy solution to this to cut down the percentage of hate that you're getting, it's pretty simple. You make it to where you only can use the internet as an adult. It's simple. Now, that's not going to cut down majority of the hate. It'll cut down a percentage of it. But then you'll get less trolls for sure. But you're still going to have a lot of crazies. A lot of crazies typically are, in the 30s and 40s. When the brain has time to either grow or rot, whatever you want to say it is.
But I would not even be surprised if this was just massive code from Ubisoft. What I mean by that is, I wouldn't be surprised if their own employees don't want to post that they work at Ubisoft, not because they're afraid of gamers or whatever, that's the spin, but because they simply don't want to post that they work at Ubisoft because they're embarrassed to work at Ubisoft.
Well, it doesn't matter because, the only time that's going to come to a situation is if, they're on LinkedIn and they're trying to get hired for a job. The only reason you need to have that in there is for, a resume purpose. It doesn't need to be on your profile picture. It doesn't need to be in your bio, or profile picture, to be frank. You could just be a guy and have social media and then happen to have a job and have a LinkedIn connected to that. You don't need to have I get why people might want to. But I think that's a stupid reason, honestly. I think this is more of a PR stunt, because if they do get in a legal exchange somehow, because it does look a little weird. There's been talks about the stockholders and them being kind of blindsided with the direction that they went, Ubisoft that is, with this game. And it kind of seems like certain lingo is being said for narrative purposes, not even to gamers themselves, but to kind of establish how dire the situation was, I guess. Instead of pulling from a lot of different articles, if you have an action as a company, a statement that you make to kind of define the overall vibe of the company at the point of the time, it's good. So when you pull back in say a lawsuit between the company itself and the stockholders or whatever it might be, you have receipts.
And speaking of Ubisoft's
and printing your own receipts and putting whatever you want on them is a smart thing to do if you're trying to finesse somebody, I guess.
Stance against harassment and all that stuff. Check this out.
That's all speculation, by the way. I'm just thinking outside the box. Who the fuck knows what I'm thinking?
Interestingly enough, March 10th,
if that's even
just the other day,
related.
Deadline had reported Former Ubisoft execs go on trial over toxic workplace as union calls for CEO to be tried for complicity.
What?
Previously, the trial...
Wait, what? How ironic is that? I'm talking about lawyership. They got someone on a... I didn't hear about this. Former Ubisoft exec goes on trial. Ooh. Well, let's be frank. If you're the CEO of Ubisoft, I don't know how you're still around, man. Because I feel like before the company like falls apart and gets sold for parts, you think they would try to change the direction of the company entirely, the leadership. You know, that might be what the bickering is about the stockholders. I don't know too much about that. I've heard little rumblings, little whispers, I guess you could say, in different comment sections, YouTube videos, stuff like that. Nothing to pay too much of my mind into.
For CEO to be tried for complicity. Previously, the trial of 3 former executives at French Assassin's Creed video game publisher Ubisoft, accused of sexual harassment and workplace bullying, has begun.
What is this, fucking Blizzard? What is going on?
In the backdrop, the Celerities Information Union, representing workers in the French video game sector, has announced it is issuing a request for Ubisoft co-founder and CEO Yves Guillemot and longtime HR executive Marie Durain to also stand trial for complicity in the alleged toxic behavior. There is no suggestion.
Bro, if you got HR on it, bro, there's a mastermind out there. There was a plan that was devised. Getting bro, that's like an ace in the hole. Oh my god.
Either were directly involved in sexual harassment or bullying. The trial of the 3 ex-Ubisoft execs is taking place as the beleaguered Paris-based company gears up for the postponed launch of Assassin's Creed Shadows on March 20th. Wow. Much rides on the success of the 14th installment of the hit franchise, with Ubisoft recently reporting a 30% drop in revenue in the first 9 months.
Did this game drop on a Friday?
Of its current financial
I'll remember.
year. The accused men include former Ubisoft Chief Creative Officer Serge Hascoët, probably didn't say that right, who was second in command of the company and regarded as co-founder Guillemot's right-hand man for 14 years from 2006. So he's joined with a few other executives as well. And I'm not going to go into like all this trial stuff. I just thought it was rather interesting, as mentioned.
Jeez.
Then we get the statement from Ubisoft and the Canadian government apparently teaming up and all that. Oh, we're against harassment. Meanwhile, all this is going on too. Of course, at least as of the time of recording this video, I don't believe they've been found guilty or anything.
Honestly, this isn't this whole like the whole rollout of this game is wild. It needs to be studied for sure. But let's be frank. Blizzard had people. What do they do? I can't remember exactly. It was like breaking into like stealing people's like milk or something like that. Like. They had the Bill Cosby painted, like, oh god. I don't think they can even hold a candle to that situation, but this is not a good look.
Like that seems to be ongoing. What is going on? Interesting stuff, isn't it? We've also talked in the past about how various corporations like to try and virtue signal publicly as they deal with their own controversies. So make of all this what you will. Now, I thought it might be fun to end this video with something rather amusing. That takes us to the subreddit for Assassin's Creed Shadows. Ooh. They say, number 2 in Japan.
Look at that. I've been playing that Monster Hunter Wilds. Such a good game, bro. So much fun. My first time playing a Monster Hunter game, and it was phenomenal. Still play it here and there. I'll probably keep it until I can play the DLC. So good. I want to make like an official review and put some money into it and get an editor, but I don't know if I have the time to do that. We'll see what happens, man. I can't make promises on this. I'm just going to try to push as much content for y'all as possible. That's at least decent in my opinion. So yeah, great game. This being number 2 is crazy. This being number 3 is crazy as well. I think number 2 is a little crazier, but still, Split Fiction being number 3, that's insane. I heard the game's good, but like, it's okay.
We have one.
I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole right now.
Reading best sellers in PlayStation 5 games. Number 1, Monster Hunter Wilds. Number 2, Assassin's Creed Shadows. And number 3, Split Fiction. And we can take a look at the most downvoted comments.
Well, we also live in an era where people can't afford to buy video games, so it's like. Yeah, in competition, you don't really buy Apex and Fortnite and Warzone. These games, even Halo Infinite's, they don't have a BR multiplayer. You know, there's a lot of games out there that people play that you don't buy. So
on that post, and it's hilarious seeing what upset the Assassin's Creed Shadows defenders over on that subreddit. For example,
what number 1 on the list is 70K. Number 5 is 7K. Oh my god.
Minus 16 downvotes reading. Number 1 on that list is 70K. Number 5 is 7K.
Wow.
And MGS3 number 10 is at 2K. We're really celebrating 1K sales 3 days from release. This one with minus 19 downvotes reading.
Wow.
Reddit when a new game is best selling first week. Remind me what happened with Dragon Age.
Well, the cutscenes got pushed everywhere. That's what happened. And actually, you know what's funny? There's so many like examples of what you probably shouldn't include in your video game. And I think Valve did a decent job of like trying not to push certain stuff that was like that in their video game. There's still some weird stuff in it for sure. Storytelling might have not been the best, and that's a common pattern with a lot of these games. Their storytelling and their overall writing is just all over the place. But yeah, there's some cutscenes that I saw on my feed as well that kind of took me back to the Veilguard days
and minus 20 downvotes reading. My guy, it is a quote-unquote bestseller with only 7,000 sold for PS5 and 1,000 sold for Xbox.
To be fair, this is on Steam as well. I don't think it made it on the Switch. I think it might blow up on that. The lighting's too good for the Switch.
Where's your quote-unquote win, bro? Ultimately, the mods for the Assassin's Creed Shadows subreddit would decide to lock the post. So yeah, just thought that was pretty amusing. Hope you guys enjoyed the entire segment, though.
It's a good video, man. I like his breakdown for sure.
Subscribing. Appreciate you. Have a great week ahead.
I'm hit the subscribe button. Whatever what else he talks about. How long did I make this? 30 minutes long, 8-minute video. I didn't mean to ramble that much. I'm sorry. Comment down below if I talk too much or if it was entertaining, I guess. Give me a little indication of the right track besides, you know, obviously the analytics. Let's read the comment section below real quick. Okay, I doubt a failing company can fight the entirety of Japan plus the sane people mocking them. Hence on the sane people. All right. Ubisoft uses intimidation. It has no effect. Gamers use close wallet. Ubisoft is KO. Yeah, I'm not buying this game unless it's like $5. Like, for instance, I'll play Star Wars Outlaws once it's like $5. And I think it's a great situation for gamers if you wait, especially with like sports games and stuff like that. You have those sales, and it's like, all right, I'll try this game out, see how bad it really was. Because, you know, $70 is a lot of money. You know, I could do a lot with $70. You know, it adds up. Stop noticing it's problematic. Ubisoft should feel comfortable now owning anything and be happy. Playing the victim after disrespecting Japanese culture so much. Ubisoft showing a complete lack of accountability. I'm like, I don't know what to expect with this game, right? There's so many situations. Great video, by the way. Go give him a like. Shout out to Hero Hei. Phenomenal video, man. I'll check out more of his videos later. But I think it's ironic with a situation like this. You have a game where Assassin's Creed has leaned into history and provided a lot of fictional fun activities as well. You know, they've done it historically. And I think there is a overblown a narrative when it comes to that with the overall political and social perspective on this game. Now, I'll be frank though, Japan is a different culture, and I'm not Japanese. I'm an American white man. It is what it is, you know. I didn't get to pick who I am. I am who I am. And I can't relate completely to y'all. I could try to put myself in your perspective, being Japanese, and you know, having a game where, you know, a black samurai is the main character, and he, you know, some people think he was a samurai, some people think he was just a slave, some people don't even think he existed. Like, it's all over the place, bro. It really is. I'm not gonna say what I think is true, because it doesn't even matter. But that it's a bunch of nuance. You have a bunch of cutscenes, which I think some of them are honestly very, considering the amount of cultural importance to some of these characters, is vile, to say the least. And then there's also situations where, you know, like was the Prime Minister of Japan talking about sacred shrines getting destroyed, and you already have a really bad culture with Western people coming over, especially content creators, and you know, content creators and gaming kind of goes hand in hand. Disrespecting their culture in general, and they kind of been, you know, strapping down on making sure they make examples of those people. So yeah, I just terrible decision making in the marketing. and creative direction. Those stand out to me the most. So, yeah, my name is Trey Swish. This is the Ether. I'm not the Ether. We're the Ether. Hit the sub button to join the Ether. And let's get to 1K. Hit that like button. Helps me out tremendously. Makes my day. Comment down below so I know who's watching. And, you know, commenting down in future videos with, like, timestamps and stuff like that. Interjecting your own commentary. I love it. I love hearing from y'all. I read every single comment. I try to comment back on everything I can. And, yeah, man, let's get to 1K, baby. I'll see you guys in the next video, man. Deuces.